Sleeping close to phone increases radiation exposure, others, experts warn.
Woman, 24, misdiagnosed 4 times before being told she had stage 3 cervical cancer.
Boy, 15, gets USB cable stuck in his penis as doctors are forced to operate.
China approves inhaled COVID vaccine.
Aging major risk factor for hypertension, not overthinking, experts say.
India approves its first nasal vaccine for COVID-19.
Justin Bieber suspends world tour due to health issues.
Woman who can smell Parkinson's helps researchers create swab test.
Woman claims she's given birth to twins from 2 dads after sex with both on same day.
Global sexually transmitted infection rates remain high, WHO says.
Stress during pregnancy may have a negative emotional impact on babies, study finds.
Woman born with transparent teeth finally feels beautiful after huge dental surgery.
Trial malaria vaccine gives 2-year protection.
Additional types of cancer reported in people with breast implants, US FDA says.
Sleeping close to phone increases radiation exposure, others, experts warn. Experts in public health have warned people against sleeping with their phones close to their heads. According to the experts, doing so increases exposure to radiofrequency radiation. Sleeping with a phone close to the head also tends to disrupt sleep, which can lead to serious health problems, according to one of the experts, Professor Tanamola Akande, a public health physician at the University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital in Kwara, Nigeria.
Woman, 24, misdiagnosed 4 times before being told she had stage 3 cervical cancer. A woman who was misdiagnosed 4 times before being diagnosed with cervical cancer is advocating for better early warning screening for young people. Jarell Goddard, 24, of London, began bleeding from her vagina in between menstrual cycles in March 2021. She is now attempting to raise £100,000 for pioneering cancer treatment. When the student first went to the doctor about the problem, she was told that it was probably hormonal and not to worry. She returned a second time after the bleeding worsened, only to be told she was having a miscarriage. Jarell was subsequently sent for an ultrasound after she insisted to her doctor that something was wrong. She was diagnosed with fibroids and hydrosalpinx, a condition in which the fallopian tube fills with blood. Doctors then gave her antibiotics because they suspected she had an infection, but nothing stopped the bleeding. Jarell eventually ended up in accident and emergency as things worsened. There, they ran blood tests, STD screens and did a pelvic exam, which is where the first concerns of cancer were mentioned, and I was referred urgently to an OB/GYN, said Jarell. He then did a pap smear, which was my first ever, and told me that it most likely would come back abnormal as my cervix looked angry. Jarell is now calling for pap smears to be offered before the age of 25. Jarell's cancer was in stage 3C, which meant it had spread to her lymph nodes in her stomach and pelvis. This meant Jarell would never be able to have children and would enter early menopause. With her cancer at such an advanced stage, Jarell was offered a spot on a clinical trial, which would give her the best chance of survival, but only privately, requiring her to raise £100,000 for the entire treatment.
Boy, 15, gets USB cable stuck in his penis as doctors are forced to operate. A teen needed surgery after a USB cable became lodged inside his penis. The 15-year-old British boy was attempting to measure the inside of his penis with the cable as part of sexual experimentation, when it became knotted, and he was unable to remove it. In November 2021, the strange incident was documented in a urology case report. Because of the knots and tangles in the cable, the boy began to have blood in his urine, and was taken to the hospital by his mother. Unsurprisingly, the boy waited for his mother to leave the room, before admitting to hospital personnel that he had intentionally inserted the cable rather than using a ruler. Doctors wrote in the Science Direct report, the 2 distal ports of the USB wire were found to be protruding from the external urethral meatus, whilst the middle part of the knotted wire remained within the urethra. The patient was an otherwise fit and healthy adolescent with no history of mental health disorders. Due to the number of knots that had formed, doctors were unable to remove the cable with a metal rod, so the boy underwent surgery.
China approves inhaled COVID vaccine. China is the first country to have approved an inhaled COVID vaccine. Made by CanSino, it has similar ingredients to its injected vaccine, using a harmless adenovirus as a carrier for the genetic code that teaches the body how to fight COVID. According to the company, Combidisha air, when inhaled as a fine mist, can provide adequate protection after just one breath. Other researchers, including teams in the United Kingdom and the United States, have been looking into nasal spray vaccines. According to researchers, these may provide additional immunity in the lining of the nose and upper airways, where COVID typically enters the body. CanSino received approval from China's National Medical Products Administration to use its inhaled vaccine as a booster dose.
Aging major risk factor for hypertension, not overthinking, experts say. Health experts have debunked the myth that excessive thinking causes hypertension, pointing out that the assumption that there is a link between hypertension and thinking lacks scientific support. According to the experts, the most important risk factor for high blood pressure is age, and they emphasize that thinking does not cause hypertension. They stated that thinking may cause a person's blood pressure to go up momentarily. This brief increase, they claim, is usually resolved when the person's problem is resolved, emphasizing that this is not the path to hypertension. Dr. Augustine Ordili, professor of medicine, and Dr. Sunday Ogundele, consultant clinical pharmacologist, explained that hypertension is a sustained rise in blood pressure that does not go away unless treated.
India approves its first nasal vaccine for COVID-19. On Tuesday, India approved a locally developed, needle-free, nasally administered COVID-19 vaccine for emergency use, bolstering the country's homegrown pharmaceutical industry. The new vaccine was created by Bharat Biotech, the same company that created another intravenous vaccine that was approved by the World Health Organization last November. On Tuesday, India's drug regulator granted the new product emergency approval, allowing it to be used as a primary dose by any unvaccinated or partially vaccinated adult, but not as a booster. Bharat Biotech conducted third-phase trials in 14 locations across India and discovered that its safety was highly comparable to other vaccines, according to a company statement.
Justin Bieber suspends world tour due to health issues. Justin Bieber has announced that he will take another break from touring to make his health a priority. After being diagnosed with Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, the singer revealed in June that he was suffering from facial paralysis. The 28-year-old, who has been on his Justice World Tour, now claims that the recent shows have taken a real toll on him, and that he needs more time to rest and get better. It comes just a month after the singer announced his intention to return to the stage. In an Instagram post, he says, "I gave everything I have after a recent show in Brazil." Ramsay-Hunt syndrome occurs when a shingles outbreak affects the facial nerve near someone's ears, resulting in facial paralysis.
Woman who can smell Parkinson's helps researchers create swab test. A Scottish woman who discovered she could detect Parkinson's disease through smell inspired scientists to create a swab test that could be used to diagnose the disease. Manchester researchers have developed a new method that they claim can detect the disease in 3 minutes. More research will be needed to validate the findings before they can develop a diagnostic test that can be used in clinics or by general practitioners. Joy Milne, a retired nurse from Perth, inspired their work. Joy, 72, suspected her husband Les had Parkinson's disease for years before he was diagnosed after noticing a change in the way he smelled. Working with Joy, a team at the University of Manchester has developed a simple skin swab test that they claim is 95% accurate under laboratory conditions in determining whether people have Parkinson's.
Woman claims she's given birth to twins from 2 dads after sex with both on same day. A 19-year-old woman claims she's given birth to twins from 2 different dads after having rumpy-pumpy time with both men on the same day. The young mother was taken aback when she learnt the results of a paternity test she had decided to take to determine who the father of her children was. "I didn't know this could happen," she said when she discovered her babies were from 2 different men. Her doctor, Julio Jorge Franco, said her case is extremely rare, describing it as a 1 in a million situation. According to local media, the woman, who wishes to remain anonymous, but is from Mineiros, Brazil, had rumpy-pumpy time with 2 different men on the same day, and became pregnant from both of them. According to her doctor, there are only about 20 other cases of heteroparental superfecundation in the world. It happens when a second ovum released during the same menstrual cycle is fertilized by the sperm cells of a different man in a separate sexual intercourse, according to the National Library of Medicine. The woman is said to have explained that her babies look very alike, but after 8 months, doubts about who their father was began to emerge. So, when they were 8 months old, she obtained DNA from the man she believed to be the father. The test, however, only revealed a positive match for one of her 2 children. She repeated the test, but only one of the children tested positive again. That's when she remembered she'd had intercourse with another man that day. The babies are now 16 months old, but the doctor only revealed the case this week, according to local media.
Global sexually transmitted infection rates remain high, WHO says. The World Health Organization, despite global efforts to control sexually transmitted infections, has said that global rates of these infections remain extremely high. The WHO stated that STIs have a significant impact on people's sexual and reproductive health, and that advances in safe and effective vaccines are needed to aid in the fight against STIs. According to the WHO, the development of these innovations could help transform STI prevention and treatment. The WHO announced the launch of the first online portal on vaccine development for STIs on Tuesday to encourage innovative approaches to combating the conditions. The portal's launch, according to the UN Health Agency, lays out a roadmap of steps to take in order to accelerate vaccine development for STIs.
Stress during pregnancy may have a negative emotional impact on babies, study finds. A study published Wednesday in the journal Infancy discovered that babies born to mothers who experienced more stress fluctuations during pregnancy showed more fear, sadness, and distress at 3 months than babies born to mothers who were less stressed. According to the study, women with higher fluctuations were more likely to report that their babies frequently appeared angry, crying, or fussing when left in a crib, showed distress when tired, and clung to a parent when introduced to an unfamiliar adult. Other potential consequences are revealed by research on infants of mothers suffering from postpartum depression. Children of depressed mothers, for example, are more likely to have higher levels of the stress hormone cortisol as preschoolers, and these changes in levels are linked with anxiety, social weariness, and withdrawal, according to the AAP's policy statement on depression after birth. The statement showed that these children may have poor self-control, poor peer relationships, school problems, and aggression, as well as attachment disorders, behavior problems, depression, and other mood disorders. A 2019 study, on the other hand, discovered that if a child has a caring adult who can provide a safe and stable nurturing relationship, many childhood adversities can be modified.
Woman born with transparent teeth finally feels beautiful after huge dental surgery. A young woman who was born with transparent teeth and endured cruel taunts for years has undergone a complete dental transformation and finally feels beautiful. Throughout her life, the teen has been cruelly dubbed Sharp Tooth, and she has revealed that she underwent a denture procedure, which she describes as the best thing she's ever done. Mahalia Olivia Grace Schlegel, a 19-year-old from Oklahoma, USA, began to suffer from teeth problems at a young age, leaving her with teeth that were nearly completely transparent. The image-conscious teen's condition was exacerbated by brittle bone disease, which left her teeth extremely weak. Mahalia, a retail assistant, hoped her transparent teeth would strengthen over time, but they weakened and left her struggling to eat properly. She was constantly mocked for her unusual-looking smile, which severely harmed her self-esteem. Mahalia finally took the plunge last December and committed to reconstructive dental surgery, which changed her life. Despite the financial burden, Mihaly insists that the procedure was well worth it because it restored her confidence. She's loved her teeth ever since and is overjoyed with her new grin. Mihaly is now planning additional procedures, including a surgery to place 2 to 4 implants in her bottom jaw so her dentures can clip in, and a laser procedure around the tissue to allow her to place the implants comfortably.
Trial malaria vaccine gives 2-year protection. Trials in West Africa of a new malaria vaccine developed by Oxford University show that it provides up to 80% protection for 2 years. The vaccine was tested on over 400 children. The Oxford team is collaborating with the Serum Institute in India, the world's largest vaccine manufacturer. According to the researchers, at least 100 million doses could be manufactured at a low cost next year. They intend to submit data to the World Health Organization within the next few weeks in order to get the vaccine approved.
Additional types of cancer reported in people with breast implants, US FDA says. The US Food and Drug Administration is warning the public about cancers found in the scar tissue that forms around breast implants, including squamous cell carcinoma and lymphomas. Although the US FDA believes that occurrences of squamous cell carcinoma and various lymphomas in the capsule around breast implants are rare, healthcare providers and people who have or are considering breast implants should be aware of these cases and report them to the agency, as well as any other cancers found around the implant. According to the US FDA's announcement, these lymphomas are not the same as lymphomas that have previously been linked to breast implants.
For your daily global health news, visit www.staywellworld.org. Please do well to subscribe, like, share and comment. If you've already subscribed, turn on the notification icon so you don't miss any update. Thank you for watching.